folks, and welcome to another Sunday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
And I'm back from the dead.
Whoa! Who are you?
Some people call me the gangster of love. No, I
Some
can't.
people call you like Space Cowboy.
I can't even do that because that's Johnny Danger Step. We all know that. The stepdaddy.
Oh, man.
It's
Stepdaddy.
Mikey. Hey.
Boy, do I love me some stepdaddy. I miss me some stepdaddy.
Great guy.
And the thing is, by the way, welcome back.
Thank
Original
you.
co-host.
Will you sing that to me in the Welcome Back Cotter theme song?
Welcome back. It's so nice to have you here. Welcome back. Won't you stop and have a beer?
What y'all can't see right now is that the side of my table just rose 6 inches.
And they say in the little town of Whoville, Mikey grew 6 inches that day. So you saw Stepdaddy. You were just saying this. I cut you off because I wanted to put this on the podcast. You actually got to see him.
I did.
He's down in the land of Tampa.
He is.
Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
That's right. He lives actually in he lives in Clearwater. Excuse me.
Clearwater. Oh, yeah, Clearwater. Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't really know anything about this area first time down there, but then I learned the Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater kind of triangle. And so, yeah, we went down there to see the 2024 WWE Premium Live event, the Royal Rumble.
Live.
Yes.
Live. It was great.
It was good. We have an interesting story. Do I have time to tell you an interesting story?
I want to talk about Royal Rumble now.
Yeah. So, okay. So I haven't seen John in years. Fantastic. Couple buddies. We flew down there. Everything was great. It's kind
He's
of
a great guy.
Whirlwind of a weekend. So we got to see his house. We got to see his baby. Fantastic. But as far as like the Royal Rumble goes, it was in Tropicana Field, and as a baseball fan, that's where the Rays play. And from what I understand, this is the only purely domed stadium in MLB. There are some other ones like Minute Maid Park, and there's another one that are dome-ish, but they have, I think maybe the Texas Rangers have one like that, but it has an opening. This one is
they have a retractable dome.
That's right.
Yeah.
This one is fully closed. So that's kind of important to this story because of the structure of the
not to disagree,
Please.
but I believe Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona,
Are they?
also has.
You would know.
I don't know. I don't think it's retractable. I could be wrong. But Phoenix is always hot.
Right.
So I don't know when they would open that sucker up.
Yeah, it would be like growing up in Bastrop in the 80s.
They're always 10 degrees hotter than us. And the baseball season, September is still bad here.
Right. No, I was going to say, when I was little, if you open up the window, your mom's like, you're letting all the cold air out.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
They would not want a retractable
either
roof.
way.
Either way. Yeah. Well, that's important just because of the structure to this story, because we bought seats. We bought nosebleed seats. This is our fifth or sixth. I think this is my sixth pay-per-view to go to. This is my third Royal Rumble.
Was it smoky after all the fireworks?
They did not do any fireworks in the dome.
Okay.
I mean, there was a couple
probably
of
not
pyrotechnics, but
probably not allowed too many.
Right.
Because of fire safety regulations.
So here's the deal: we bought the tickets, and to get into this venue, since it is a baseball stadium, you had to get the MLB. You had to download the MLB app. It wasn't just like a StubHub or a SeatGeek or whatever. So that's important because we go out drinking. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we all four dressed as John Cena. And yes, we all four dressed as different versions of John Cena. We all had on jorts. We all had on knee pads.
I love it.
We all had on a different color Cena shirt.
Absolutely.
We had on the Cena hat. We had on two wristbands because he always has the double wristbands on each end. When we got out of that Uber, like 2 blocks from the stadium to go into a bar, we were like rock stars. Everybody started like oohing and ahhing us, and we took no less than like 15 or 20 pictures with other wrestling fans just wanting to be a part of the Cenas. So here we are, 4 drunk Cenas, like trying to, get into the building. And we go and we circle around to this lane like we always do. We look for like the shortest line, right? And you get in, you go through security. Well, the cell phone service was bad trying to pull up the tickets. So it was happening to a lot of people. 2 tickets were on my phone, 2 tickets were on John's phone. and we
2 tickets to paradise.
2 tickets to paradise, and we couldn't
Did you
get
pack
in.
your bags?
We did actually.
Oh.
Yeah, we actually flew Spirit Airlines, so all we did was pack one small bag for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
But that's a different story for a different
Okay.
day. So
each one had 2 tickets.
so I get in, right?
Yes, you get in.
So me and Wes, we get in.
You're in.
And we're looking at them, Rusty and John, through a little chain link fence, and theirs won't pull up. So they're like, "Just go ahead and go on in." So
Go without me.
Yeah, go. Yeah, we'll catch up. We know where the seats are at. Now our
Okay.
seats, like I said, 3rd level, nosebleeds. We just want to be in the building.
Yeah.
we want to be in the room where it happens.
Okay, so you didn't bring home a steel chair like you did during WrestleMania.
We did not. We did not.
Okay.
Wanted to, did not.
I know.
So we're on the outside. Here's the reason why I bring up the dome. If you look at that stadium, and a lot of these stadiums will have those kind of circular outside kind of staircases.
Yeah.
They got to help with traffic flow, like
Exactly.
on the corners. So we go up the first one, and we don't go in the first door. We go up the second one, knowing we need to go to the third, but I needed to pee really, really bad.
Yeah.
So we go in the first door that we see. When we go
Okay.
in this door, nobody's going in it, nobody's going out of it. And we're looking around and we're like, nobody's here. Like, what is this? So it kind of looked like more of like an executive type thing. And there was
Okay.
like some offices.
Oh my.
So we go down this hallway and then we go around, still just looking for a bathroom. It opens up into like this private suite, one of those like, it's called the, what was it called? The Republic Bank draft
So
room.
one of those executive suites where the bigwigs come.
It's got its own bar, its own concession stand, it's got its own like couches and everything, and it's open, so it's like you look over and you can see the crowd and you can see
Yeah.
the ring, right? And we're the closest we had ever been to the ring, right? And so there's a bathroom there. I go in the bathroom. Wes
not?
just takes a seat, right? So
Yeah.
we're just waiting. And I go after I get done, and I go and I sit down by him, and I look around, and I'm like, I wonder if we could just stay here.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let me just go tell the bartender what's up. So I went over there
Yeah.
to the bartender and I was like, let me just tell you the story. So I just told him the flat out truth. I was like, looking for a bathroom, got separated from our friends. They're coming up. Our seats are way up there. We walk in here. There's nobody here. Like, can we sit here? And he looked at me and he said, well, we were told, and he kind of winks at me, right? Like, we were told that, nobody was supposed to sit here, but we all think it's stupid. My supervisor thinks it's stupid. So, I mean, as long as y'all like, bought a couple of beers or whatever, go for it. And I
Give
was
us
like,
some business to have a seat.
and I was like, well, we'll run up a tab.
Yeah.
Like, we're good. So we go and tell Rusty and we tell John. They come up.
No way. And
We
you got
sit
the executive seat.
in this entire
Shut up.
Royal Rumble. We sat in like this executive seat with our own bathroom right there, like our own bartender. There was maybe 8 or 10 other people that kind of milled around. But yeah.
Like the Emperor and Spartacus, after every match, they look up at you to see if you give the thumbs up or thumbs down, whether they should kill that wrestler or not.
That is 100%. It was phenomenal.
That's the super suite there.
It really was. Now
You felt like Tay-Tay Swift there.
Yeah, well, or Hulk Hogan.
Or Hollywood.
Which was
What?
He was maybe 45 degrees around the corner from us. He was on the same level, right? Now
in a different suite?
in a different suite. Now, John Stepp, being the John Steppy that he is,
Pressed his junk up against the window and knocked on it.
how did you know? You've talked to him, didn't you? No, this is what happened. This is a true story. So, because we wanted to, we didn't want anybody to mess with us. We talked to, we made friends with the bartender. We made friends with the security guard. We made friends with the concession lady. We just told them our names. We got to know their names, and like I said, there were like 8 or 10 other people that started to mill around. But we didn't want like, how like if you find like a cool place or something happens, but you want to kind of keep it secret because then if too much attention gets brought to it, then it could ruin the whole thing. Like if you have a house party
you
and
don't
like
want to
6
be too
people are
bad,
there, but
because
it's
they
like,
call the cops.
That's
yeah,
exactly. So
you don't want to rock the boat too much.
So we wanted to be friends with the people since we were the first there. So if they decided to kick everybody out, they wouldn't kick us out because
Yeah.
they would be like, hey, these guys are cool.
These guys are cool.
So one of the guys that was up at the bar that John just strikes up a conversation with, because John is one of the nicest fellas we've ever met.
By the way, I don't know of anyone who would dislike John. Talking to this guy, this is the most friendliest guy. He authentically wants to hear your story. He authentically when he asks you a question, he wants to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. It's not just starting a conversation or let him answer or talk over you. He is the coolest.
He is.
Absolutely the
and he can
coolest,
make friends
laid
with
back.
anybody.
Anyone.
And so that's what he did in that situation where he strikes up this conversation with this guy. And we're over there watching the show. And it's like, where's John? And he's like standing over there. And he's over there for like 20 minutes or whatever. And we start watching the show again or whatever. And then we look for John and he's gone. And so
no.
we're like, either A, he got sex trafficked, or B, he's off being John somewhere,
I
right?
go for A.
Yeah. Well, so
I go for A.
his hair's still long.
His hair still's long,
you know,
and I knows he shaves below the belly buttons. Is all I'm saying.
if any four of us were to be sex trafficked, it would be him number one. So
Oh, for sure.
exactly.
For sure.
So he comes back after X amount of time.
Chooses not to sit on the couch.
Chooses to stand only. Well, before he came back, like I was sitting there telling my buddies, I was like, he is with Hogan right now. I know
Yeah,
it. Like I could just
partying
feel it.
Hogan's suite all of a sudden.
I could just feel it. And so he comes back, and I'm like, were you with Hogan? Were you with him?
Your fist is balling up. You're trembling.
And he's like, no, but he said, the guy that I was talking to, apparently he works in solar panels, and he put a lot of solar panels on John Cena's house, because in this area, in the Tampa, Clearwater, like Orlando, all that area,
it's all solar panels.
It's a big wrestling community. That's where a lot of wrestlers,
they all stay there.
Yeah, they all live
homes.
there. They all have houses there. I mean, the WWE Performance Center is there. So that is not, sometimes you can meet somebody at something and they're going to lie to you. Well, this guy, at least by story alone, could be credible, because we know that Cena's got a house down there. So he's like, so where I've been closer to Hogan. He's like, didn't see Hogan, but he said, I went to another suite that was nicer than this one, that was more exclusive, and y'all should come over there. We should go over there. Like, they have a bigger bar, there's more people.
Yeah.
And then that could be our end, because he's like, I know that like Hogan was really on this other side of this wall. So we decided no, because we didn't want to push our luck, because here we stumbled upon it. That was another party, and if all four of us try to go to that party, even if they liked us as people, it would feel weird. So we were all like, no.
You're playing with the house's money right now, so you got to watch out.
Yeah.
Got it.
Worst case scenario.
You could
have
Ocean's 11 that,
right?
Though.
Well,
that would have been a great story.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If I could come back and I'm telling you
now,
right now that we met Hogan,
like Icarus, you could have gotten to Hogan, burned, but you could have gotten to him, and at least that would have been worth getting kicked out and banned from Royal Rumble forever. But
if my story was I got kicked out of the Royal Rumble because I tried to meet Hogan, I could live with that.
And as you're getting kicked out, I didn't step over the ring. I didn't step over the top rope. This doesn't count.
Nobody threw me out.
No one threw me out.
Both feet didn't hit the ground.
I'm not hitting the ground. I'm not hitting the ground.
Like Kofi Kingston walking on my hands.
That'd be hilarious. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. So anyway, well, no, that's
Did John go?
John never went back. He really wanted to, and that's a me and John kind of thing. I think if it would have just been me and him, 100% we would have done it.
So you think because four is the crowd?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, we split up. We go in pairs of two. We take turns.
Right.
We do some recon.
Right.
In and out.
Right.
10 minutes. We grab some popcorn shrimp and blow.
Right.
Right. And we're out.
Right.
But we go ahead. We put out our. I thought for a minute you're gonna say I was hanging out at John Cena's house. The guy still has a key to the. I thought that's what you're gonna tell. I could see John cracking a beer in John Cena's kitchen and saying, "Wow, so you put solar panels here, huh? Nice."
John did say that this guy told him that he was smoking weed with Hogan in Hogan's truck before the show started. That, I don't know if it's true, but that's just the stories that were going around and how close we were.
Okay.
So, yes, do I have some regrets in that regard now that it's 2 weeks past? Yeah, because I'll probably never be that close again.
At the time, here's the situation. Man, we already have it good.
We have it great.
And if this was the top, this is already the top. This is way more than I expected we'd ever get.
Right.
I don't want to push the luck.
Right.
But at the same time, YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO.
YOLO. And you're right, because with the step, it's easy to get caught up in what I call the step madness, which I love. But because when you look at Johnny's step for too long, you get those pink fringes across your eyesight. It's just kind of like it looks like one of those glamour shots videos.
But it's not pink eye.
No, it's not pink eye, but you're just seeing clouds of pink sparkles circle around his head. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And so then you just start listening to him and obey, like the Pied Piper. You just start obeying whatever idea he has.
Yeah, because he will just stumble ass backwards into some magical situation.
His siren song is hard to pull away. But you had Wes and Rusty as anchors.
Yes.
And you're like, no, I need to stay firmly planted. But if it would have been, that'd have been quite the story. Who else would have been there? And you think in that suite?
I mean, we don't know.
You don't know.
We don't know.
Not Vince.
Not Vince. He was. He was too busy.
He's too busy
dropping number 2s in the bathroom. Yikes!
Yikes! Yikes! Yeah, there was a little bit of a cloud I heard over the Royal Rumble. Someone watching on pay-per-view, he felt that there was a little bit of a cloud because that news, the whole scandal just broke recently, and Brock Lesnar was set to make his triumphant return and suddenly was absent. So,
and
whoopsie.
has been basically like banned
and has been scrubbed.
From everything,
the website and everything.
Yep, from the cover of the new game.
So is Vince McMahon, scrubbed, baby.
So I got a question for you because I know all about this stuff as far as just reading it. I don't know how much you've read. Do you think, because I know that Triple H is your favorite wrestler, do you think that 1 year from now, by the time we get to Royal Rumble 2025, that he's still employed? Do you think he's going to get caught up in this somehow? Not that he did anything bad, but because he's married to Stephanie, because he's basically a McMahon, that TKO board is going to try to get it all out.
Okay, there's a reason The Rock is where he's at right now with the company, and it looks like a transition to buy. And the thing is, in my opinion, Triple H, Stephanie, they had to both know. They didn't like it, which I think is the reason Stephanie stepped off the board the moment Vince came back. And I don't think Triple H respected Vince. But at the same time, it's hard to bite the hand that fed you for so many years and got him to where he's at. And you're at a hard for him. For every one of us, like, oh, come on, get out of here. Guy was a creep. He was awful. He was terrible. And I agree. But the thing is, though, it's easier said than done. It is a family member. And it's just like, you're destroying a legend who destroyed himself. But at the same time, it's like, so he's in a rock and a hard place. The Rock in a hard place right now. And I think he's going to get moved out. I think he's going to bow out before they push. I think he's going to
fall on his sword.
I think he's going to step away because Stephanie hasn't come back, right?
No.
So I think he's like, you know what? I have decided to spend time with my family, and they're not going to pursue any, investigation into him, whether he knew or not, or how much he knew. Let's say that, how much he knew, not whether he knew or not, but how much he knew. So I think he's going to be able to retire safely into the sunset, leave this all behind him, because it's ick. And I know he doesn't want to be a part of it. He's never wanted to be a part of it. And it's just a hard time, but I think that's why The Rock is there. So, but I don't like that The Rock, basically, part of the deal was that he gets to headline WrestleMania. Thought that was a little too pounded, but I understand that's what you want to do. That's part of your agreement for you to get The Rock. But at the same time, come on, baby.
So I know you've always kind of followed wrestling. I don't know, how much your fingers on the pulse right now.
I've looked a little bit at the report. I've seen a few of the text messages, and they are the stuff of nightmares.
Right. Let's forget the Vince stuff just for a second, right? But when you look at the wrestling side of things, the storyline side of things, I'll say this: we've been wrestling fans our whole lives. Everybody knows that, but it's in a great place right now. It's in a better place than it's been in a long, long time. It's very interesting. I'm talking entertainment.
Streamlined the business,
right?
To where it's a different hybrid is what it is,
right?
And probably you're right, running the smoothest it ever has, especially with the new owner and the new company and how they've got the books down and how they got the pacing down and how they built the stories and stuff like that.
Right.
It feels like it's found its curve. Now it needs to just take off again like it did.
Right, and I think it's almost there, right?
I think it is. It could definitely.
And for me, the telltale sign has been this. It has been. For the longest time, ever since me and you, were kids and we've grown up, we fell in love with certain wrestlers. You're looking at your Hogans, you're looking at Hall and Nash, you're looking at Sting, you're looking at, X, Y, and Z. And forever, when you go all the way through the 2000s, when you go through the 2010s, it's like, are any of the wrestlers that we see now, ever going to be as big as them? Probably not, but WWE needed to rely in some form or fashion on the older talent to continue to get by. And I think now is one of the first times where, you're finally seeing that, we don't need any of the older people anymore. Like, you don't need, like, because
No.
Stone Cold wrestled in 2 WrestleManias ago. Like, he actually came back and had a match with Kevin Owens, and it was fine at the time for nostalgia reasons, but nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fine match, but it's like, you realize, like, because if you watch it, you'd be like, man, I wish Stone Cold. It's not the same as Stone Cold. Well, here he is, and it's like, no, they have good talent now. They have strong talent.
It's these legacy characters that we talk about now. And no one defines it this way, but when in times of pops, when it got its biggest thing, you have your golden era in a way, which is going to be the Hogan, the Macho Man, the Rowdy Piper, all those Ric Flair, all those classics. Then you're going to have the 90s that had the Stone Colds, that had the Rocks, the Mick Foleys, the Undertaker, and stuff like that. And when we come across to that was Silver Age, and then we come across to our third boom. It's been long delayed, but you have to have a catalyst. This could be the catalyst to switch things in the right direction. Get rid of the dregs of the old regime, because you got to start again.
You do.
You've got to start again. You've got to renew. You've got to reinvent yourself. They have done that, and you're right. It could be definitely up for one. And there's new people to take it to new heights. It's different than it's been. We've seen a different iteration of wrestling. Mm-hmm. We saw more of the cartoonish character, but lovable in the 80s. We loved it all. And then it got more mature, and it went to the raunchy 90s kid, the anti-PC type culture is what we had. Very 90s, Rage Against Authority and stuff. And now it's coming back with a new generation, a new look and feel that is removed from that 90s, that is removed from the 90s weren't the 80s. Mm-hmm. And this new one will not be the 90s or the 80s.
Right.
It'll be something new, because wrestling has once again, in a way, reinvented itself.
It has. And that's one of the biggest complaints about The Rock, because I love The Rock. I mean, he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And
he's great.
Being in the building, going to all of these pay-per-views, the one person I've wanted to see was The Rock. I'm talking about in person, because I've seen, now we saw when we went to WrestleMania 30, we got to see The Rock, we got to see Hogan, we got to see Stone Cold. That was the year that Daniel Bryan won. Like, I've seen, that was the year that Undertaker lost. I've seen a lot of pops.
That was one of your biggest, was that the same night that Undertaker lost? Yeah. And it was, you got to see the highs and the lows.
Right.
You got to hear the air leave the room when they counted a 3 count, thinking, oh, someone screwed up. That ref's about to get fired. No one knew what was going on. And then you got to say that when Daniel Bryan won, I remember the confetti fell.
Oh, my gosh.
And the whole place, you never had it any louder.
Nope.
And even you're jumping up. It felt like you won the World Series.
I jumped in Johnny Stepp's arms.
Yeah.
And he carried me away. He whisked me away. But my point is that through all of that, I have never heard a pop like The Rock. The Rock. I mean,
he's he truly is electrifying.
He really is.
Once you hear him hit his music hits, boom.
Right. It's insane. But this was just on one hand the worst timing ever, but then on the other hand the best timing, because those are the reports, is that this was the plan all along and this was part of his deal. But business wise, I love it. They needed it.
That's great.
They know they needed it because this whole, and I don't know if you've read this portion of it, but what so many people are complaining about is that Cody Rhodes, everybody wants to see Cody Rhodes win. Everybody wants to see Cody Rhodes finish his story. He is by far the biggest baby face in the company.
He's huge.
And they have pushed him. Like, I actually asked Wes the other day, which I think is a great question. Who is bigger? Who was bigger or is bigger in their prime? Is the pop bigger right now for Cody Rhodes and what he's going through, or Daniel Bryan 10 years ago?
Ooh.
And the Yes Movement? And we both agree. I'll ask you this. This is what we come to. Tell me if you agree or we don't agree. We both think that Cody Rhodes as a person and as a wrestler and as a talent, that, and this is no slight to Daniel Bryan, but we think the people are behind Cody more than they were Daniel Bryan.
Think they are?
But
Daniel Bryan was the little engine that could.
But we think that the Yes Movement is bigger than Cody Rhodes. If that makes sense. If you can separate the two. Yes.
The catchphrase, the theme around it was just so powerful.
Because those pops were insane. If you go back and watch them, there's
the crowd. And there's the thing. Daniel Bryan knows it was the fans that got him that belt.
100%.
Because McMahon likes big guys.
Right.
Not the small guy.
Apparently.
But you had to bow to the crowd because it was just too. You have to eventually give them what they want.
So will they do that now, or does The Rock say, meh? Because everybody is pissed that The Rock just swooped in and, is taking Cody Rhodes' spot when everything was primed for Rhodes to beat Roman Reigns and to finally finish his story
which
at
is what
WrestleMania.
I don't like that.
Right.
That's what I didn't like about.
But they needed it because nobody's talking about McMahon right now. Everybody's talking about The Rock. And
I understand it was
we're all getting
pivot.
worked is what we're doing.
We're getting worked.
We are 100% getting worked.
It's like, hey, we should go to that other suite. That's Johnny, sweet Johnny Step working you. Working you.
Yeah, what's going to happen is The Rock's going to take off his mask, Scooby-Doo style. It's just going to be John Step.
He's wiggling 5 fingers around your hand, and then the other hand is wiggling 5 fingers somewhere else.
Oh, hello.
Like I said, that Pied Piper, he's playing that flute.
So, yes, there's a lot going on there, and we love it, and it's exciting. We'll find out tomorrow. As we record this,
this is recorded very early.
So tomorrow's the press conference.
Yeah. Let me ask another question though. Okay, so you and Johnny, everyone leaves. We have a fun time at Royal Rumble, right? Fun time. Is there anything else that goes on with the four of you? Do you go out to eat? Do you do something else?
So, right after was very interesting because we had basically been drinking all day long.
The after party, here we go. Yeah, because the bar.
Yeah, well, before that.
Hello.
So Hogan lives in Clearwater Beach, and in Clearwater he's got a place called Hogan's Hangout, which is his restaurant, and then he's got Hogan's Beach Shop, which is like a couple of doors down on this little strip. We went to both. So we went to Hogan's Hangout and we had some drinks. Sat in the room where every Monday Jimmy Hart does karaoke. And
I hear he's a fantastic dude.
I mean, why wouldn't he be? He's Jimmy Hart.
He's Jimmy Hart.
He hasn't, his look, his voice, nothing has changed in 40 years.
Yeah.
The jacket, the megaphone, the glasses, like the mullet.
It's great.
So, yeah, that was actually a good restaurant. The food was good. Did they
have Hogan burgers?
They did not have
Hulkamania burgers.
They didn't have a Hogan drink that we got, which all of us were like, this is okay, but not the best. It was a mojito. It was kind of spicy.
Yeah.
So, but the atmosphere was great. There was this big, huge, Hogan bobblehead. Which was awesome.
Awesome.
And so then we went down to the beach shop. And the beach shop is literally, he goes in there once or twice a week. The whole
karaoke.
shop. Well, no. This is a small little storefront.
Oh, okay.
This is all clothes, shirts, toys, but it's all memorabilia that he has signed. It's stuff like the actual NWO belt that's spray painted is in there. A pair of Andre the Giant's underwear, his trunks that are in there. Just signed posters from Rocky 3. I mean, everything. It's like a museum, really.
Yeah.
And you're looking around and you're like, wow, this place is incredible. And there's this little frequently asked questions that's yes, he comes in here once or twice a week. Yes, he'll sign anything for you. No, we won't give you his address. All these kind of little funny things. But it's kind of neat, being in that world, just thinking, all right, man, they're kind of all around, and you could just walk in there on a random Tuesday and probably see Hogan. So all that day we were drinking beforehand. What happened afterwards was kind of a nightmare, honestly, because it was 50,000 people leaving St. Petersburg getting Ubers, and we were trying to find an Uber, so it actually took us over almost 3 hours after the show ended to get an Uber to go back up to Clearwater, which was about 30 minutes away, 25 minutes away.
Right.
So we just got out in the masses and we walked a few blocks, probably end up a mile or two till we got to a certain point where we were like, okay, we can't get an Uber, let's just duck into a place. So we found this little coffee bar to duck into. We felt safe because everybody, I mean, even in that coffee bar there were some people outside. We went inside, so there was probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 7 groups that were waiting on Ubers as well. So everybody was kind of doing the same thing. So that was kind of the only part of the night that was just a little bit, because we had been drinking all day. It was 1 a.m. We were just ready to get home, so it was a little bit, But we finally got an Uber. We went home. We didn't go to sleep till 4, we went and watched the press conference afterwards and commiserated about the night or whatever. Then we went to sleep.
That's sweet. Then we went to sleep. The end. Then we got back to Hobbiton and said, well, I'm back. There you go.
Yes.
That's fun.
The only part I'm leaving out is what happened, before we went to sleep, but after we had got undressed. But
Okay, that's for Saturday evening, Samoflange. Saturday breaking or up all night, Samoflange. That's the after dark.
you can read that
Samoflange after dark.
read
That's
what happened in Vince McMahon's deposition.
Let me see those phone. Let me see those texts from you and Johnny Step.
By the way, why does Vince McMahon text like a 13-year-old? Does he not know how to spell? Like, what was up with that? It's so bizarre.
All right. We'll move on. Thanks for coming on. Folks, we'll see you next time on Saturday
Evening.
Samoflange.